Hey, what's up guys? Maidenslave here. Today we're going to be talking about Tomb of the Mutilated, and I would like to make this quick because this album goes by quick, and I really don't have too much to say about it because it is the most awesome motherfucking death metal album ever, of all time, period. There, I said it. You heard it here. Maidenslave. It is official. Tomb of the Mutilated is like the master of puppets for death metal. It is absolutely amazing. Like A, as in it gets a motherfucking A. This album is just so fucking awesome. A lot of people argue that this is the kind of pinnacle of death metal, old school death metal. This is when it just fucking was amazing, okay? It's just amazing. This is a fucking amazing album. It really is. From the very first few notes and Hammer Smashed Face all the way to the end. It's fucking brilliant. They trick you too on that intro. Everybody knows that intro is Run to the Hills. Everybody knows it, but then it goes obviously into death metal. Compared to their last couple of albums, it just seems like they ran with that whole Rain and Blood formula of stripping everything down, stripping all the BS down, because in their first two albums, they, beat around the bush a little bit. They were finding themselves. They had really, really long intros to the albums, but right off the bat, you get thrown in, and it just goes by so quickly. And the band is sounding better than ever. This album is always in the debate of the best Cannibal Corpse album, one of the best death metal albums, period, and I can definitely understand why now. I mean, it's so perfectly balanced. The drums by Paul are just fucking out of this world. Every 5 seconds he's doing blast beats that are crystal clear. I didn't hear one problem. And as soon as you start, getting a little bit too tense from those beautiful blast beats, he goes off into a groove, or he goes off into that old school thrash metal breakdown, and it's just orchestrated and composed so well. The guitar sound is the absolute essence of the old school death metal sound. It really is. It just sounds so clear, but it still has that kind of boomy sound from the late 80s. It's just that amazing little zone in the early 90s that we got out of a lot of death metal acts. The bass. Now, I haven't really talked about Alex too much in this discography review because he didn't really come out until this album. The bass, you can hear it the entire album. Playing with the guitars. Who the fuck does that? Okay? With a pick maybe, but with his fingers, with that weird pattern he does, just amazing. And he doesn't just follow the guitars, but he's doing these weird atonal intervals the entire time. And like whenever he has, like a bass feature, the most notable one is Hammer Smashed Face, but there's a few other ones, it feels like his strings are trying to get away, and he tries to catch them. Like, he'll be playing with a band, and then when his feature comes, he's like, and then he brings it back, and then it's so quick. I don't know if you guys will get what I'm saying, but it just sounded like that. A lot of times, his bass lines will actually carry the music, very similar to something like an Iron Maiden, where a lot of the music writing is done by Steve Harris. A lot of the music writing, obviously, is done by Alex. Hammer Smashed Face, I Come Blood, Necropedophile, Addicted to Vaginal Skin, Entrails Ripped from a Virgin's Cunt. They did it again. It's like every album that Cannibal came out with in the beginning, people kept thinking, okay, that's it. That's the limit right there. Their last album, they fucking had zombies tearing out a baby of a fucking woman and hanging a bunch of little, fucking babies in the back. Guess what's going on in this fucking album? You have a zombie going down on a female zombie who looks like she was fucking taken out of a tomb, and then I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a little vagina in the back ripped out and fucked with a knife. This album just has one of the best album covers in death metal history. Definitely one of the most controversial, one of the most important. It opened the gates for a lot of different people. This is when Cannibal Corpse actually started getting noticed by the mainstream a little bit. They were featured in a very, very famous movie, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, where they played Hammer Smashed Face with Jim Carrey, which was absolutely phenomenal. You really got a sense that death metal was actually a thing now. It was a thing. This is death metal now. You know, you got your death metal, you got your thrash metal, you got your hair metal, you got your power metal, eventually new metal, which would ruin everything. And yeah, here we are. You know, we're home. This is death metal. This is Cannibal. Absolutely, and probably at their best. And a lot of people don't really know how to talk about death metal albums, even if they like them. They don't know how to say whether or not it's good, because a lot of times on a death metal album, sure, maybe a lot of it musically will sound similar, which is a tradition of death metal. But here's my little test that I give to you guys, that I always give to myself on determining whether or not a death metal album is good. Listen to it all the way through. If you find yourself becoming addicted to listening to the album, and you listen to it over and over and over again, it is obviously doing something right. To me, this album went by too fast. I literally sat down and listened to it 3 times in a row at some point. Listened to it in my car, listened to it on my earphones. I could not stop listening to it. I needed to listen to other music that I can review, but I just couldn't stop listening to this one album because it is just fucking amazing. I couldn't, every time I put it down, I just kept hearing the intro to Hammer Smash Face in my head, you know, and I kept drumming it to myself, and I kept humming it. I was walking around in fucking public trying to sing like Chris Barnes. People were looking at me like I was a fucking maniac. I was like, you know, and that's another thing I want to talk about here. So I mentioned that there are very, very, very fucking very impressive performances by all the guys in this band. Chris Barnes, holy mother of fucking shit. Now on Butchered at Birth, I said that his balls dropped to the ground. Guess what happened on Tomb of the Mutilated? His balls fucking broke through the ground, and they landed down there in that damn China on the other side of the world. Or if you believe in it, they landed in hell, where they belong. You know, a lot of people discuss, you know, on which album did he sing the lowest or the most aggressive. I honestly think that he went a little bit higher and a little bit more grunty on the next album, The Bleeding. And I think that he was his absolute lowest on Tomb of the Mutilated. It doesn't get much lower for this guy on this album. His voice was just mind fucking blowing, especially during the parts where they would just have him sing, you know, they would pan it, so he'd be right here, and then he'd be right here, and then he'd be in the middle. There was one point on the album, I don't recall what song, but he just held out his growl for like a few seconds, and it's just something to talk about. You know, for anybody who is against death metal, they don't understand it. They don't understand that singing like this is actually a talent, and it is equally as challenging as the high screamers or the, you know, the good singers. You need to understand that it is an art form, and it is very hard. Not everybody can do it. And on this album, you're going to hear one of the best performances in the genre with these kind of vocals. Absolutely, you will. Since I began reviewing Cannibal Corpse, I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, Maidenslave, what album should I listen to? I want to listen to them too, you know. So what should I start with? And I've been kind of vague with them. I said, you know, if you like thrash, maybe you should start with Eaten, Back to Life. You know, maybe Butchered, maybe The Bleeding, maybe you'll like Corpse Grinder, maybe listen to Vile or something like that. Tomb of the Mutilated. Just, if you are interested in death metal, if you are interested in Cannibal Corpse, get a hold of Tomb of the Mutilated and just put it on. Don't think about it, don't look at the artwork, don't question it, don't say, what am I doing? Put it on. And if you are not just absolutely enthralled within seconds, then you will never get death metal. You will never understand the genre. Absolutely phenomenal death metal album. This is the epitome of the genre. I'm going to give Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse a 10 out of 10. Later, guys.
looking to get a pizza. Pepperoni. Mushrooms. On the front right here. Could I have a pizza with, bloody cum? Yeah. And can I have extra vaginal skin on that?